And welcome to this weekend's Behind the Mitten. John Gonzalez and Amy Sherman traveling the state of Michigan as we always do every single weekend. Our jobs for MLive.com keeps us pretty busy, and that's kind of one of the reasons we're downtown Grand Rapids, right, Amy?
That's right. We're here at the Governor's Tourism Conference, and it's a great opportunity for us as members of the tourism industry to see all of our friends, as well as many previous guests from Behind the Mitten, which is kind of hilarious. But it's a great time to learn about all the cool changes that are happening around the state at different facilities, at different places to stay, as well as learn about other projects that are going on around Michigan.
If you tuned in last weekend, we did the same thing because we ran into so many people. You can find our podcast. You can find all information about Behind the Mitten at behindthemitten.com or go to our Facebook page, facebook.com, search for Behind the Mitten with Amy Sherman and John Gonzalez. It's going to get a little noisy in here for a few minutes, right, Amy? Because they're just getting out of a seminar, a speaker, and the way these conferences go, they'll have speakers in between segments and so forth, lunch, dinner, receptions. It gets a little crazy sometimes.
It gets a little loud, but we'd like to welcome our next guest, who's actually a previous guest on Behind the Mitten, Mary Beth Stutzman from visitalpena.com. Welcome back to Behind the Mitten.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
This time we're not up in beautiful Alpena, but
we are in beautiful Grand Rapids.
But we like Alpena.
I do too. I'm a little partial.
Well, we were thrilled to get to visit you a few weeks ago and learn more about all the great things you have going on in your region. But for people who are unfamiliar, because we do have listeners across the state, and we'd like to thank them for tuning in, tell us where Alpena is located.
Alpena is located in northeastern Lower Michigan, so it's in the Lower Peninsula on Lake Huron. So if you take Detroit and drive about 3 hours north, 3.5 hours north, you'll hit Alpena, and that's where you can relax.
Well, she says that because you really can. We finally spent some time there this year. Not as much time as we wanted to, because it was last year at this conference that we ran to here for the first time.
Yep.
And you opened our eyes to all the opportunities, things you can do that you didn't realize that you could do it in Michigan.
There was a lot of little nuggets being dropped last time, I remember.
Yeah, wisdom, knowledge. You were dropping the knowledge. Well, and I became obsessed with Alpena. I didn't get to make it up there last year, but it's on my bucket list this year. I am obsessed with going up there, and I really want to paddleboard over those shipwrecks. Tell people about that. It sounds so amazing.
People are so surprised to hear that we are home to Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary, which is the nation's only freshwater marine sanctuary, and it protects approximately 200 shipwrecks lying on the bottom of Lake Huron. And these go all the way from wooden masted schooners to steel-hulled freighters. You can find probably the most significant variety in a collection of this nature, and it's protected for us so that we can explore it, view it, learn about the history of our nation as we were growing as a country, and learn about shipping on the Great Lakes. And it's just an awesome adventure. You can kayak right over them. Some of them are so shallow you can walk over them in the water, snorkel, you can scuba dive. If you don't want to get wet, you can take a glass bottom boat tour. There's a lot of different ways to experience it.
And the water is just crystal clear.
It is. A lot of people are surprised about that, too. I remember myself one time I was driving past on our main stretch in town, and I looked out over Lake Huron, and I thought, oh, man, it looks like those brochures from the Caribbean. It's so blue. Why do you want to spend thousands of dollars to travel when you have it right here in our own backyard in Michigan? And it's all over the state. It's not just Alpena, but I'm a little partial to our little,
Well, if that's not your thing, you also have this incredible trail system and lighthouses as well, right?
Yes, we are centrally located to 7 different historic lighthouses. We have 2 that are on islands. We have the oldest accessible lighthouse on the Great Lakes, the Old Presqu'Isle Lighthouse, and then the tallest accessible lighthouse on the Great Lakes, which is the New Presqu'Isle Lighthouse. Built in the 1800s, so I don't know if you can call it new anymore, but a lot of people come to climb the towers. It's like a secret club. People travel around to lighthouses and they want to climb all the ones that are climbable in Michigan. So to come to Alpena and be able to check off so many of them off your list, it's a great spot for that. We also have other things going on that people find interesting, like fossil hunting and a little bit of rock climbing and through the trail systems that are rugged and pristine and a little bit less trafficked than some of the other parts that people are used to. And I think what is so cool about Michigan in general is that you can go to places like Alpena or you can go to places like Grand Rapids or up into the UP and have similar but different experiences. So if someone wants to bike and they're really into mountain biking, they can come to Michigan and go to a variety of places in a week or two and have an amazing package of memories to take home with them.
We're giving Deborah Yee from Coldwater a hard time, because Deborah's just the way it is with her. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's part of being at a conference. But you're right though. There's just so much going on there. I think the other thing we didn't realize until we were there not too long ago was the love of music the community has.
Oh, yeah. We have a big arts and culture scene that a lot of people are surprised to find in such a small town. Throughout downtown in the summertime, we have music, street performers at night on the sidewalks and the little plazas in our downtown. We have a folk festival every fall in September, a 3-day folk festival, and a number of other concerts in the park that are free to the community and to visitors. And throughout the winter, we have live music at a lot of different venues around the community. It really seems to be this interesting little inspirational collective of a place where people go to get creative and be inspired. And it's not just music, it's art and writing and all those kinds of creative or performing arts as well.
I love the performers at night during the summer. I just think it sounds kind of a magical thing where you can walk around with your family and get some really great music all over the place, and it just sounds really fun.
It really is.
You guys also have an up-and-coming kind of restaurant scene. I know when we were there, we got to visit a lovely brewery that had some delicious food, right?
Yeah, Austin Brothers.
Which is kind of new to the scene, right?
Yes, they are fairly new. They found Alpena on a family vacation, and they fell in love with it, and they moved pretty much their whole family to Alpena to open a brewery in this charming small town that they fell in love with. We have a lot of professionally trained chefs that actually work at various restaurants. There's a little bit of a foodie scene that's starting to blossom, so that's fun too, and a big farm-to-table, locally sourced food push. We're obviously a very heavy agricultural area and region, so connecting that with the consumerism of dining out and enjoying what you're eating and knowing that it came locally from a local source is something that people seek out now, so that's really great too.
Yeah, good to see. What other restaurants do you recommend up in Alpena? What are some of your other favorites?
We have so many, just off the top of my head, there's Fresh Palate, which is a great farm-to-table, organically grown restaurant. It's locally owned by Chef Eric Peterson. We have John Lau Saloon, which is Alpena's oldest, longest-running saloon from back when we were a lumber boomtown.
I've not been there, and I need to go to a saloon,
it's
John.
Great. And the inside is like a museum. It has a lot of old Alpena memorabilia on the walls. It's also supposedly haunted. That's fun.
Better yet.
We have the courtyard and JJ's and the Owl. Just so many great places for people to go. It's hard to figure out where to go when we decide to eat out,
which is a good problem to have.
I think one of the things that you loved, Amy, was the fact that you can customize your trip, right?
You can, right? If you go to visitalpena.com. Yes. You guys kind of have a cool thing going on there.
We just love meeting people. We like meeting people. We like introducing people to our community. And anyone is interested, we recommend that you go to our website, visitalpena.com, and look for the Ask a Local button, and you can get connected with a local person that can help you figure out what you want to do and maximize your experience.
It's like your own personal concierge.
It's your own personal Alpena concierge. I bet you didn't know that existed.
I did not know. I mean, so seriously, I can call and say, hey, I really want to paddleboard over the shipwrecks, and then I want to go eat a farm-to-table meal. And
yeah, how do I do it? Where do I go? They'll ask you a couple questions to see specifically what you want, and they will set you right up.
I mean, that's like a no-brainer, right, John?
I know. It's kind of what we do for MLive.
It is what we do.
So next time you come to Alpena, maybe we'll get you out on a kayak or something.
Oh, you are going to get me out on a kayak. Yeah, I think we're just going to record from a kayak over the shipwreck.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I can fulfill every bucket list item at once, right?
Why not? We'll figure out how to do it.
We'll figure it out. Exactly. I love your attitude.
It's a good attitude, Mary, but I think everyone in Alpena has that attitude. We're just going to do it.
We're just going to figure it out.
We are.
I love that. Well, Mary Beth, if people do want to get more information about coming up to beautiful Alpena, where should they go?
Visitalpena.com is your first stop, and then you can always feel free to reach out to us through Ask a Local at visitalpena.com, and we will help you out.
Awesome. All right, John. Lots of fun. We've got a lot more from the Governor's Tourism Conference coming up, don't we?
Yeah, we're going to talk to some pretty cool guests coming. I'm trying to think of who. Well, we'll just grab people, too. We'll just grab people.
We're
and
just
say,
going to grab people.
You know what I mean? Pull them aside. Not grab them. Jeez.
Well, you definitely want to stay tuned to Behind the Mitten. And, of course, later on, John, we'll do Beer of the Week. So stay tuned to Behind the Mitten.
I'm Mary Beth Stutzman from Alpena, Michigan. You can find out more about Alpena at visitalpena.com, and you're listening to Behind the Mitten.
And welcome back to this weekend's Behind the Mitten with John Gonzalez and Amy Sherman, traveling the state of Michigan as we do every week. But Amy, this week we're kind of centered in a pretty cool place.
Well, we are. We have to thank our last guest, Mary Beth Stutzman from Alpena. Visit alpena.com. Such a great time talking to her. And as everyone knows, Alpena is on my bucket list. It should be on yours, too. They have some amazing things going on up there. We're going to float over those shipwrecks this year. It's on our plan, right?
It really is. I'm looking forward to that as well. But you know, the place that we have been to a lot is the greater Lansing area. We love it. Not only do we have an office there for MLive.com, but just... they have so many cool events taking place throughout the year, which I love. They have a baseball team, which
you love.
Which I love, baseball. And they just seem to be working hard to make you aware of all the cool things that they offer.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people around the state just think, oh, Capitol Building, that's it. And there's like so many more things going on, so many neighborhoods that you can explore in the Lansing area. So we're lucky enough to be here at the Governor's Tourism Conference. That's why we're recording with a variety of people from all over the state of Michigan. So we want to welcome Tracy Padot to the show from the Greater Lansing Convention and Visitors Bureau. You've been on the show before. You're a return visitor like many people are today. Welcome back.
Thank you. Both so kind to have me back on and be able to chat about all the fun stuff going on in Greater Lansing.
Absolutely. Well, you guys always do have stuff going on, and we were just there the other day. In fact, doing some work, but we were driving around and eating and drinking and doing fun things. And I think people forget like that. There is the Capitol. There's the building and all the things that happen there. But there's all these sweet neighborhoods. There's the lug nuts. There's all this great stuff you can do, and so many things to explore in Lansing.
Definitely. One of my favorite neighborhoods is Old Town Lansing.
Yes.
Just north of downtown. Fantastic restaurants, shops, galleries, breweries. There's a little Ozone Brewery tucked away in the back corner. Love it. What a great weekend getaway, especially for the ladies. I encourage to come on out for a women's weekend getaway, and not far from Eastwood Town Center, which has got great shopping, dining, lots of fabulous stuff to do.
I love it. Well, John, you mentioned baseball, and the Lansing Lugnuts are they're considered a minor league team, right?
Correct.
They feed to who? Who do they feed to?
The Toronto Blue Jays.
Ah, yes.
Correct, yes.
Good job, Tracy.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Now, these guys just celebrated their opening day, right?
They did. They had a fantastic opening day. They closed down the streets in front of the ballpark, have a great big celebration. Lots of great fun events for the Lugnuts this year. Specialty events. Bring the kids out. They'll do a Harry Potter themed day. Bring your dog to the ballpark. Lots of fireworks and fun activities. So make sure you get to the LansingLugnuts.com website because there's a lot of cool stuff.
And even if you don't like baseball, right? Well, you just go eat. I go to the baseball games to eat.
Exactly. My son just likes to play in the playground in the bounce house. I mean, what a great family outing.
Well, there's baseball is great around the state of Michigan, including the Loons in Midland, and of course Grand Rapids and the West Michigan Whitecaps. But Lansing, I love it because the park itself is located downtown, which is a little different. The Whitecaps are located obviously a little bit outside of downtown. Midland, the Dow Stadium is just a little bit off to the center of downtown, but in Lansing it's right downtown, and it's also revitalized the area around it, right?
It has, yeah. A lot of great development down there. New apartment buildings, great places to live and eat and drink and have fun. American Fifth Distillery. We've got a brand new distillery called Michigan, which opened up just behind the ballpark. Lansing Brewing Company, all within walking distance. Great places to dine and get a craft beer.
Now, Tracy, you know that John's retirement goal is to get one of the condos at Lugnut Stadium.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They're so cool. And it's so unique. Like, there's actually apartments and condos that are like out in left field.
You're in outfield. You can just step out onto your balcony and watch the game right from there. Or the fantastic concerts. There's Taste of Country. There's all kinds of special events. So you'd have a window to the world, John. It'd be great. You'd
Hashtag
be right there.
life goals.
I know.
Gonzo.
Someday I will be there watching the Lugnuts play. The only problem is I'm kind of devoted to the Tigers, so there's that going on. But it's okay. Everyone's
You're 90 minutes away from getting to Detroit.
I'm closer
I mean,
to Detroit.
you are so centrally located. You can't beat it.
Well, you mentioned Old Town, and it really is a cool area that I don't know if a lot of people outside of the greater Lansing area know about. You mentioned some of the restaurants, and tell us a little bit more about that food scene happening there.
Sure. Meat Barbecue is a great one. Just been featured.
We don't know anything about that.
On Triple D and the Food Network.
Yep.
So good. Pablo's, Mexican.
Great Mexican
the
food,
Cosmos for fantastic craft cocktails and unique pizza. I mean, the Ozone Brewery, again, they've got a great little food truck pizza happening right outside there. So I can't say enough good things about Old Town, but if you like Old Town, I'm going to tip you in about Rio Town.
I knew you were going there.
Rio Town, also up and coming, great art scene, mural.